Tear gas and clouds of smoke billowed from the heart of Paris as thousands took to the streets in anti-government protests that at times turned violent. Now, this was the scene just a few hours ago along the Champs-Élysées. You can see it there as protesters set up barricades and set them on fire while police responded with tear gas and water cannon. Officials say 35 people have been arrested in protests like this one right around the country. Jim Bitterman joins me now from Paris for the very latest. And Jim, I know you were waiting for an update from the Interior Ministry in terms of those arrests. Set the scene for us in terms of what's going on. Have things calmed down?
Well, first on that update, it's now up to 130 arrested across France and 42 of those in Paris, according to the Interior Minister, who we've just been watching on television. Here in Paris, things have calmed down a bit on the Champs-Élysées. There are still a few handfuls of protesters here and there who are relighting some of the fires that they had lit before, but for the most part, the demonstration is over. This is not the kind of Saturday night you would normally see in the Champs-Élysées, especially right after Black Friday, and it's really an eerie kind of a sight. We have the Christmas lights were lit on the Champs-Élysées on Thursday to mark the beginning of the Christmas season. And in fact, today we just saw scenes of violence all day long from 10 o'clock this morning local time to right now it's after 8 o'clock in the evening. So a lot of violence along the Champs-Élysées. Now, we heard from the Interior Minister. He was outlining some of the numbers. He said there were 106,000 people protesting across the country today as opposed to 280,000 last week, so less than half of the number of protesters this week. However, the violence here in the Champs-Élysées was nothing compared to what took place last week. It was much calmer last week than this week. In any case, he said there were 1,600 protests in various places across the country, some of them very small and some very calm, but just blocking of traffic and that sort of thing. And we finally heard from President Macron, who was silent all day long, but he put out a tweet just in the last hour in which he said, thanks to all the law enforcement, as you'd expect. Then he said, shame on all the people who assaulted them. Shame on those who voluntarily assaulted citizens and reporters. Shame on those who tried to intimidate our elected officials. There's no space for this violence in our republic. So the president taking a very much of a paternalistic kind of professorial tone, which something that he's been criticized for in the past. We'll see how that goes down.